Good evening, everybody. Justin Publon here. We're going to talk about the Alberta Clipper coming in for Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Should be a fun one. These storms tend to be drier, they tend to be more quick hitting, and they tend to bring a drier, fluffy snow that's maybe more, I don't know, more fun in some ways, more of a classic snowfall. I think this is a more common type of snowfall event for Wisconsin, and thus kind of what we're used to. So if we dive in here to the GFS model, which we're going to pick it up at 6 a.m. on Thursday, we're going to see so Thursday being tomorrow morning, we're going to see the snow just starting to peek into the western areas of the state there in the morning, but it should spread in quickly during the morning hours. I would say from about 8 to 9 it's going to really pick up and hit another notch. This puts it in an interesting spot for the morning commute because, in my opinion, it's not a slam dunk on that morning commute, and I think a lot of people are going to be inspired to drive out early and kind of be hit with reality about 9 or 10 a.m. and seeing things deteriorate fast and then try to get back home. I don't know exactly what people are going to do, but this seems sort of like kind of like a trap in a way. So this is around noon on Thursday with the snow breaking out across the state. Again, colder temperatures should allow snow to hit the ground and then freeze as it get and compact. Like freeze, when I say the freeze, it's like getting compacted to the road as opposed to like turning to slush or getting wet. And I think that's going to be another factor to making the drive tomorrow, driving around travel, not that great. As we move towards 6 p.m. on Friday, we're seeing those heavy snowfall amounts transitioning from the west to the east, so it's more centered on the eastern side of the state, but also gradually coming to an end, starting the end of the event. I would say at this point we're really returning to light snowfall across western northwest Wisconsin, and in my opinion, as this low pressure system starts to slide off, we're kind of nearing the end of the first phase. There's another phase to this that involves the back end, some mesoscale banding that could occur across east central Wisconsin, closer to the lake shore, like Manitowoc, Sheboygan counties, where we're seeing a heavier wordage, verbiage from the National Weather Service there. So, and that's more of this motion of swooping down like this, and as the system departs off to the east. So, should be interesting to see how that all plays out. If we let's see, just make sure I've covered that. Yes, and so that could linger into Friday morning. But again, anything that's kind of beyond that 6 p.m. on Thursday is going to be more on the lighter end of things. Again, yes, you might get that banding that occurs across the eastern, east central Wisconsin lakeshore areas, but outside of that, I don't I think things are going to have to be winding down by this point, and especially by Friday morning. But we could still see some flurries there on Friday. Looking at the snowfall predictions, again, the medium range models like the GFS European have been pretty consistent in terms of placement, and just recently the short range models have sort of aligned. I think I'm using the 10 to 1 snowfall ratios. If you read the National Weather Service AFDs, they they're suggesting a higher ratio of snowfall, and I get that. As I mentioned when I first opened this video, the Clipper type storms don't tend to overperform when it comes to moisture, and I always like take the lower end of the estimates when I deal with Clippers. I learned my lesson a long time ago, and I just don't get too optimistic about it. So we're going to use the 10 to 1, and you can use your imagination on what the Kuchera or whatever ratio you want to use might look like. So European, and then I'm going for mainly placement as I go through these different scenarios. Kind of paints it as the heavier mounts across central Wisconsin with snow pretty much everywhere, but when you're talking like 3, 4, 5 inches, you're seeing that most probable across central Wisconsin. For my purposes tonight, I thought it would be best to talk about the NAM high resolution model, which shows a few different things. One is the potential for some locally or higher amounts somewhere within these regions. Again, not everybody's going to be blessed with 6-inch snowfall amounts, but if they do, they would be localized. And I could see that anywhere in central Wisconsin. I could also I would expect to see higher amounts in the east central Wisconsin area when all is said and done, as a result of what happens on Thursday, but also that banding that happens towards the end of the event. And you're seeing that kind of here, that bullseye. Again, it might actually just be more focused here, but that's what's happening on that front. Looking at the timing of the snowfall, just to make sure we're clear, again, this is the time of your morning commute in here, and you're seeing nothing. I mean, not nothing, but basically not a huge impact. But you're seeing it really, really take off towards the back end of that, so closer to the midday hours. And in many, I would say the western sides of the state, and I guess you can't get that from this visual because the names are cut off. You would see a heavier amount here on the western side and then transitioning more towards the eastern side of the state here and towards the PM hours. So yeah, I think this handles it pretty well. Here's Sturgeon Bay, and you're seeing some of that mesoscale banding towards the back end of it going on here. So lakeshore areas, kind of getting that boost right there. So that's the event in a nutshell. Again, I'm trying to keep this video short, but hopefully this is helpful and informational. It's just my opinion. Again, we'll see what happens. Looking ahead to the 7-day forecast, so Thursday, tomorrow, highs in the 20s. This is Wisconsin Rapids. This weekend, staying cooler with that fresh snowpack, but then as we move towards early next week, warming up and becoming more mild again, we would have a chance of snow. It would be a glancing blow there on Monday. Not a major system, but maybe an inconvenience for sure. Coming through, depending on the timing, we'll see. There's also the Packer game, which I'm very excited to announce I'll be attending. I hope that the roads and the weather condition really are optimal and we don't get too much disruption there so people can get there and back safely. So, anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your evening and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.